So they decided to build the airplane on the gun turret. And when you do that, you save the weight of the turret, you save the weight of the machine gun, you save the weight of the ammunition. On top of that, they said we need to save more weight. And so what they did when they constructed the atomic bombers was they built the B-29s without armor. A conventional B-29 would have armor plates in front and in back of the crew members in the aircraft. And they said, well, this is a special mission, we're going to do away with that. They did leave armor plane for the pilot and for the rear gunner. Outside of that, no one else had armor. So between the turrets and the armor deletion, they end up saving 7,500 pounds. The bomb is 10,000, so yeah. A number of other changes they made for the atomic bombers and propellers. They look ordinary, but these are fully reversible pitch propellers, meaning they can twist to an extent that when you're running the engines, it's actually flying backwards. They needed that because the heavy bombs that you carry, in case they want to abort on takeoff, they can't. They can't rely on the brakes. What they need to do is have propellers in reverse pitch so they can stop her quicker. So those were unusual. And anyway, just a number of other changes. But basically, these are not your conventional B-29s. Now, one of the reasons that the Manhattan Project said you need a fast airplane was because of the magnitude of the explosion. The bomber needs to get away after you did the bombing. So what they told him was that the explosion is going to be big. We don't know exactly how big, but calculation says that it's probably you should be at least 8 miles away when the bomb explodes. 8 miles, that's a long way. And the bomber comes in at about 30-some-odd thousand feet, roughly 6 miles above the city. So when they drop the weapon from here down to here, it goes for about 45 seconds to go from 6 miles down to about 2,000 feet where they want to do an air burst. So say 45 seconds from 6 miles, you get to get away and put at least another 2 miles in the other direction. And the way you do that is to make the airplane faster. And the way you do that is when you say weight, so give it a turn, say weight. But the other thing is to make the airplane slicker. Getting rid of all the things that sticks out in the air is actually faster. So here it is, comes in, it drops the weapon, immediately turns around, shallow dive as fast as it can go the other way. And when the bomb exploded 45 seconds later, they estimate that the airplanes were about 10 miles away. So the shot wave from the explosion did not damage the bomb carrier.
They did when the bomb went off. That was like boost.
Yeah. The comment was that what happened was that there's a shot wave that comes from the weapon. In fact, the crew on the Enola Gay, they didn't see the explosion because they were going the other way. Yeah. The only person that got a really good view of the explosion is the guy sitting at the very tail end of the airplane. He could see it. Well, you're not supposed to see it. But he got to look at it very near the time, right up it. Anyway, the commander sits right here. The commander is a guy named Paul Tibbets. Paul Tibbets is the commander of the group, and here's a picture of Paul here. He's also the commander for this mission, age 30. There's Paul Tibbets. He didn't see the explosion. Nobody did, except for the guy in the back. He's going the other way. He said he could tell the bomb exploded because the shock wave hit the airplane. He said it felt like somebody grabbed the tail of the airplane and shook it. And then shortly thereafter, he felt a second shot wave. It came again, not as strong. And when he felt the second shot wave, he knew that the atomic mission was a success. And the mission was not only have the bomb explode, but also have it explode in midair, 2,000 feet. So the second shot, well, the first shot wave comes directly from the bomb itself. It goes up. The second shot wave comes from the explosion shot wave coming down the ground, and then bounce off the ground and hit him. So that's why it was delayed. So when he said he felt the second shot wave, he knew that the mission was a success. And then the airplane slowly banked around, and everybody got a good look at the flame that's growing up in the mushroom cloud. Yeah. Now the bomb is carried right here. There's two bomb bay doors. One is right here. You can see the cut. There's a second bomb bay right here. But the second bomb bay on B-29s or atomic bombers is sealed at the factory, because what they want to do was put in 2 extra fuel cells in the back end of the bomb bay, so it carried more fuel for the distance. But the weapon is carried right here, right below these doors right here. The airplane sits pretty low in the ground, so the way they load the bomb onto the airplane is that they dug a pit in the service area. Well, it's a vertical, like a basement wall. They put the bomb in it, and the airplane maneuver over it. The doors open, and they jack the bomb right into the bomb bay. They close it. Yeah, so that's how it That's how they did it. Yeah. It flew a number of missions, a lot of practice missions. They practiced dropping a single bomb on an island defenses in the Pacific, just to test out and practice. They practiced long-range navigation. The Enola Gay, I don't believe flew Japan, but there were a couple of things flew Japan as well. Once again, to practice. But there are only 2 atomic bombs that were dropped. One at Hiroshima by the Enola Gay, and the second one was on Nagasaki by a airplane named Boxcar. And Boxcar is on display at the Air Force Museum of Dayton, Ohio. What's not commonly known is that Nagasaki was not the target the second day. It was another city. The mission for the atomic bomb happens in 2 phases. The first phase involved airplanes flying over the target city, and their job was to look at the weather and give the go and no-go, depending on visibility. The field orders for the atomic attack are that you must be able to see the point in the city you're supposed to hit so you can aim it. It's the visibility only. The strict orders not to drop the bomb if you can't see it. So the first phase of the mission involves airplanes flying over the target city. On August 6th, the Enola Gay on that mission, 3 airplanes preceded the Enola Gay. 1 airplane went to the city of Hiroshima, another airplane went to the city of Kokura, and the 3rd airplane went to the city of Nagasaki. Each one of them looked at the weather and said go or no go. The primary target that day was Hiroshima. The airplane that flew over Hiroshima gave them the go code, saying it's clear, go. So the Enola Gay and 2 other airplanes flew to Hiroshima. The other 2 airplanes one is a camera plane with video and camera. The second one is carrying scientific instruments, and the 3rd one, of course, is Enola Gay carrying the bomb itself. So the Enola Gay was in that mission. 3 days later, on the second mission, the Enola Gay was in phase 1. Its job was to fly over the city of Kokura to look at the weather. And when it arrived over Kokura, it radioed back that the weather was a little bit patchy, a little bit cloudy, but it was good enough for visual bombing, and gave the go ahead. 2 hours later, hour late than usual, 2 hours later, a flight of 2 B-29 approached the city of Kokura. The airplane carrying the bomb is Boxcar. The other airplane carried scientific instruments. Anyway, they approached Kokura. That problem was that because they were late, the weather had changed. And when they arrived over Kokura, the clouds and haze was so bad, they couldn't see the target point. So what they had to do was wait. They said, well, we're going to wait and maybe it'll clear up. So they circled the city for 3 times or 45 minutes. Circle the city. After the 3rd circle, they said, nothing's going to open up. We're running very low on fuel. We don't have enough fuel to get home. We may be able to go to an emergency landing at Okinawa. So they decided to go to Okinawa, and on the way to Okinawa, they got pretty close to Nagasaki. Early in the day, they heard a go for Nagasaki. So they went to Nagasaki, and as they approached Nagasaki, they found out that it too was weather-bound. Couldn't see the target. Now they're in a pickle because the orders are very specific. Can't see it, can't drop it. And they don't have enough fuel to wait over Nagasaki like they did over Kokura. They said, we only have 1 shot at it, and as they approached the city, they knew they were in trouble. So what would they do? Anyway, I think if they follow orders strictly, they are supposed to bring the bomb home, but they can't bring the bomb home, they have no fuel. They're not going to make it home. They may be able to make it to Okinawa. Well, the alternative to that is drop the bomb in the ocean. Oh, that's a tough one. So they struggled with it for a little bit. They didn't have a lot of time. Finally decided, well, we're going to drop it using radar. You look at the back belly of the Enola Gay, you see right behind the bomb bay there's a white dome. You can stand over and see it. The white dome is a radar.
Oh, I see.
Yes, the radar gives you an image of the ground. They clearly know where Nagasaki is. They clearly know what they're supposed to hit. But radar don't allow you to really aim because it doesn't take in the data for wind shears and drift and all that kind of thing. You know, it tells you where you are. So anyway, they said, well, we got no choice. We're going to bomb them with radar. Now the problem is that they're going to risk a court-martial. There's a couple of other things wrong with the mission already, and now they're going to compound it by dropping a bomb using radar, which they were specifically not allowed to do. So anyway, they said we have no choice. So they're going to use radar. Now on the run to Nagasaki, the airplane is being controlled by a guy sitting at the tail end of the airplane. He's he's looking through the scope, and he's telling the pilot how to adjust his airplane to go over the spot where he think they're supposed to hit. Now 15 seconds before they reach the point where they said drop it, the guy sitting on the nose of boxcar on Enola Gay, that guy is sitting above the number 82. See the glass in front of him?
Yeah.
He's the bombardier. He's the point person sitting right in front of the nose there. He screams into his mic that there's a hole, I see it. I mean, he's telling the pilot and the commander that I think I see the target. Let me at it. So the commander transferred control from the radar operator to the bombardier. Now he has about 12 seconds left. Now in 12 seconds he's going to try to aim the airplane, adjust the bomb aiming, and then 11 a.m. East door opened on boxcar, and a plutonium bomb fell out. It fell for about 45 seconds, and of course a huge explosion. Now there was some controversy after the war whether he really did see it or not, because he missed the target by 2 miles. I mean, a lot. So did he really see it, or he just didn't have time to aim properly? I don't know. He said he saw it, so avoided court-martial because orders are bomb with visual only. So there was no court-martial. But actually, it was fortunate that he missed the target by 2 miles because Nagasaki was ringed by a valley, and the bomb actually fell over the valley when it exploded. The center city was actually shielded from most of the blasts. A lot of the blasts hit the side of the valley, hit the walls of the hills, and bounced up rather than spread over and just. So there was actually less damage at Nagasaki than there were at Hiroshima, even though the plutonium bomb was much more powerful than the uranium bomb. But the object is to try to get a Japanese surrender, and that and many other things finally caused them to surrender about a week later. So it all happened like the way that we had wanted to.
Wow. Yes. Thank you.
Actually, to finish the story,